Hey guys, it's been a while. I'm still alive, so that's something. Um, yeah, I haven't shot a video in a while. Just haven't felt like it. I had a lot of stuff going on, and then like coming back to Seattle was kind of an adjustment, and then I got sick and blah 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 blah. But there has been some movement on the nailing down what the fuck is going on front. So I thought that I would share that with you today, fine viewers. I go to the Bastyr Center for Natural Health, which is basically my hippie doctor coven. They have naturopaths that are training like students. So, I mean, there was one point when I had like seven fucking people in the room with me, and it was basically like, a medical squad as opposed to one person. So that's pretty nice, and it's covered on my insurance, so fuck yeah. um but the people that I'm working with right now, it's only actually two people, so it's a student and then this doctor who's also an acupuncturist. And I went in to basically again figure out what the hell is going on, to see if it's really fibro or if it's like food allergies or if it's small intestine bacterial overgrowth or leaky gut, blah, blah, blah. So the first thing that they did was steal a bunch of my blood and then test it for specific food allergies. So I think they tested like corn, soy, gluten, and whey. So, all the fun, good food. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm probably gonna come back and be like, okay, if you eat any of this shit again, your head's gonna fall off. So you have to stop and you can't ever have any of this food ever again. Because, I'm a fatalist in my brain when it comes to anything, really. So that's what I was expecting. And then I went back like a week later after they did all those tests, and the test came back with nothing, basically. Like, I don't have any kind of immunoresponse to anything specific. They did find that my vitamin D level was a little bit low, so they prescribed that, and that is supposed to help with some of the body pain. But I think this was just kind of like, what the fuck? I'm back at square one again. Like, are you kidding me? I had all of these ideas of what it could be. Like, if it's leaky gut, let's fucking do that diet. But there's, a course of treatment because there's a reason. And so when everything came back, I didn't feel very good about it, just because it's basically like, well, now what is it? So then the doctor came back in and started talking about how all the other patients that she has who have fibromyalgia also have a lot of past trauma, and that fibro is something that can be triggered by trauma. Awesome. Uh, yeah. So I've been trying to come to terms with that. And I think I really don't want to do this. I don't want to fucking talk about this. I don't want everyone knowing what happened to me, but I feel like I have to. Like, she kind of put it in the frame of like, all this shit happened and you didn't know how to deal with it, so you just kind of like held on to it, and it's been in your body, and it's been basically like wreaking havoc this whole time. And it makes perfect sense. And so in an effort to get everything out, I guess I'm gonna have to talk about it. So yay, this is gonna be fun. No, well, I don't know, who's to say. So basically, my symptoms didn't really start getting too terrible until 2013. This is mainly because 2012 was like the shittiest year on record ever. Ever. I mean, maybe not like, I'm pretty sure other people have had shittier years, but like for me, it was a banner fucking, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was so bad that it fucking, the end of 2011 sucked. Like, that's how bad 2012 was. Like, the last month. Right? No, dude. Shit started really getting shitty as soon as I turned 30. And it's not, I mean, it's not a correlation by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just how it shook out. So my stepdad used to have a lot of heart problems. He had a heart attack when I was like 14 and was put on all this medication. He had a shitty diet, shitty genes. Like, he didn't take care of himself the way he was supposed to. So by 2011, by their wedding anniversary, actually, shit got dire, and he had, I don't know if it was actually like a heart attack, but it was some kind of cardiac event, and he was super fucking sick, and he got admitted to the hospital, and their anniversary fell pretty close to my birthday, and on my 30th birthday, my stepdad had a stroke. Happy birthday to me. That was awesome. And so after that, he was just never really the same. It did a number on him, did a real number on him, and he was just fucking really unhappy ever since. And then around kind of the same time, my aunt got sick. My mom's sister got real sick. They couldn't figure out what was going on. They thought it was like diverticulitis, or maybe it was gallstones, even though she didn't have a gallbladder. Did you know that you can still get gallstones if you don't have a gallbladder? How is that even remotely possible? Like, that's what the doctor told me the last week when I had all this fucking crazy ass, digestive symptoms. He was like, it could be gallstones. I'm like, well, I don't have a gallbladder, so explain it to me, dude. Anyway, so it turned out that she had pancreatic cancer, and when did they diagnose that? August, September, maybe. It was hot still in Texas, so it could have been November, fuck if I know. So at this point, Gary was in the hospital off and on, especially like right after Christmas, I think, and then everything just started going downhill. Like, he needed a valve replacement because everything else was kind of failing, but everything else was failing, so they couldn't put him under to replace the valve that was causing everything to fail. It was like this fucking bizarre catch-22 kind of thing. So basically, when they exhausted all other modes of healing, hold on, I have wicked dry mouth right now. I guess because I'm nervous. Anyway, so when they tried everything, basically they like put him in this coma because they hooked to this crazy ass machine that had like a motor or propeller or something. I thought of planes, so I'm like, why are you putting a plane inside of him? That's really weird. But he had to be comatose because he couldn't move, because it would like fuck up the apparatus and then he would like keel. Awesome. So he was on that for a long time, and it just wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, and there just came a point where we had to withdraw care. So we withdrew care, and January 10th, he died. And that sucked really bad, because like, he'd been in my life since I was about 8, and I mean, he was like this, he was always there, he was this adult that had been in my life forever, and all of a sudden, like, he was in a coma, and like, then he was dead. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense, and nobody fucking talks about it in this culture anyway. So like, when that happened, oh god, like, it was really terrible. And like, I had to help my mom plan the funeral and all that shit, and nobody grieves the same, especially with my stepbrother and my uncle. Like, just none of us could really connect over it. And so playing the funeral was on Friday the 13th. Yeah. And then we just kind of kept going. And then my aunt, oh god, the timeline gets a little weird because so much shit was going on at the same time. I don't even remember. So I think before Gary died, Sandy was getting blood clots and she got a really bad one in her leg that they couldn't clear, and her fucking leg started going necrotic. So they had to cut off her leg. She was fucking like practically dying from pancreatic cancer and they had to chop off her fucking leg. Like, and that was the last time I saw her. So that happened, and then she went into hospice, and I believe she died January 27th, maybe. So it was like 2 weeks, and then she was dead. And, like, again, it was the same thing. Like, how in the fuck do I make sense out of this? Because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, she was just here, and now she's gone forever. So that happened. And then at that point, I was working in a prison, like a literal prison. And so, like, that wasn't nurturing at all. The guy that I was dating was a fuckwad and, like, super sensitive to all the behavioral changes that I was going through. And he, like, took it out on me a little bit. And I'm like, homie, people just died, man. Like, I'm trying to fucking figure out how this will fit in my brain from now on. You need to chill the fuck out because I don't have anything for you right now. So then, and this is the part that I just really don't want to talk about because it's intensely personal and not anyone's fucking business, but it is a part of the trauma of 2012. So 2 weeks after my aunt died, it was Valentine's Day, and my boyfriend sexually assaulted me on Valentine's Day. And that's all I'm really going to say about that. It still, I still have flashbacks from it. It was terrible. It was really terrible. And it wasn't anything that I fucking needed ever, really. But, like, the timing of it was just like, really, guy? Really? And then we kind of, like, went our separate ways or whatever. And then some shit came up and I, like, never really confronted him about it. I didn't even tell anybody until, like, a month later, maybe. And then, like, there came this point where I couldn't sit with it anymore because he didn't fucking know what happened. Like, he just thought, oh, yeah, blah, you know, we're doing this and everything is fine. So I knew that I had to confront him about this, and I called him and basically was like, dude, this is what happened. This is what you did. And you have to live with it now because I have to fucking live with it now. So you should know. You should know what you did. And he was shitty about it. And then, like, super needy, like, wanted me to comfort him after I told him that he raped me. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. You're gonna have to find that on your own and have a good life, man. Whatever. I didn't go to the cops. I didn't press charges. I know that that's usually the first question that people ask. Well, first of all, that's incredibly fucking invasive, and don't ask that. Unless you're a police officer, don't fucking ask it. It's not your business. There are so many reasons why people don't report being raped or sexually assaulted. And the main one is because it's incredibly hard to prove in court. The victim gets fucking filleted publicly, pretty much. And it's like you're always going to be that person forever. So no, I didn't fucking press charges. Whatever. So then, still working at the prison. Still shitty. I fall in love with this. I'm like relatively certain that he's a sociopath at this point. But fell in love with this idiot. Got fired. On a Friday the 13th, by the way. So I had a thing with Friday the 13th for a long time because just all of these shitty things kept happening. Um, got my old job back at Settlement Home, was around more supportive people, so that was good. But like these fucking things just kept happening that were amping my anxiety up. Like I went to the local sexual assault and domestic violence agency in town and requested counseling, and they didn't tell me that it would be a possibility that a male counselor would call me back. So when fucking Dave from Safe Place called wanting to schedule a counseling appointment, I was so triggered. I flipped the fuck out and I couldn't stop crying for like an hour. So I never called them back. And then like they have this policy where they will offer you counseling once, and if you don't take it, then they won't offer you individual counseling. Or no, it's twice. They won't offer it again. And so I went round and round about that. Yeah. And then like this fucking crazy ass shit happened at work where I had to restrain this kid, and the coworker that I was working with wasn't responding to my screams of help, and that just felt really fucked up. Like I'm supposed to count on you and it didn't happen, and I was super violated, and that kid fucking elbowed me in the boob and like kicked me a lot. The whole thing was just terrible. And like finally more people came anyway, so like just these fucking crazy ass things were happening to amp it up. I finally saw the shrink over at Safe Place who formally diagnosed me with PTSD. That was a hard day because you study it and you understand it intellectually and clinically, but to come to grips that you have that, it's not easy. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, like, you see it represented in movies and TV and shit, and I was like, but it's not like that. Like, when I have, is this a flashback? I don't think it is, because it's not like my vision is replaying the scene that happened. It's mainly like a feeling where I would still feel like fucking powerless and like I couldn't do anything, and just terrible things were happening and I had no control. So that's what it looks like for me, I guess, where I just like fucking flip out and just I don't feel safe and I retreat. So that's a huge coping mechanism for me. And then like in October I got fucking summoned to jury duty. In fact, like the night that shit happened with the kid who elbowed me in the boob, I checked my mail and it was a summons for jury duty. And so I go, and it's a goddamn felony rape case that they're trying to find jurors for. And I just, we had to sit there and like listen to the prosecutor like outline sexual assault law in Texas and make sure that we all understood what it was. And then the defense attorney came up and started talking about this man, and I think it was like a kid that was the victim. Anyway, I'm just so fucking thankful that I was sitting in the back of the room, because I sat there just bawling silently for hours. And then, you know, they would ask people questions and shit, and finally it was like, if you think that you're unable to sit in this jury, like, raise your hand and come talk to the judge. And I'm like, yes, fucking here, right here, you need to hear what I have to say. And so I had to, like, walk up in front of a room full of, like, 60 fucking strangers and tell this judge that I couldn't be on this panel because I was raped that year, and I just couldn't do it. And her first question was, have you pressed charges yet? And I think what she was getting at is, do you have an open case? And I said no. And then she's just like, so it's just too close to home. Yes. Yes, it's way too fucking close to home. I can't do this. So I was dismissed. But like, what? I feel like something else terrible happened. I don't know. It's hard to remember. I don't remember a lot. But basically, 2013 is when my symptoms really started manifesting. Like, I started the year off getting the flu, and then just like progressively started feeling worse and worse. I gained a ridiculous amount of weight, like super quickly. I think like 40 pounds or something. And my thyroid was all fucked up. I was pre-diabetic. There was one point where like I couldn't use my wrist anymore. Like my left wrist was just fucking hurting. It felt like I strained it or sprained it, but nothing had happened. So I had to get a wrist brace. The same shit happened to my elbow. So I had to get an arm brace. Like my body was basically like shutting down, and I didn't know what was happening. And so like I go get my thyroid tested and see an endocrinologist, and of course everyone just has their fucking blinders on, and she's like, oh, your thyroid, you're hypothyroid, take this medicine. I had a terrible reaction to the medicine and got even sicker. I think it caused my vitamin D levels to plummet, and I have never been in that amount of pain before in my life. I had to go to the emergency room because just like moving hurt. I couldn't like lean. If I wanted to do this, I couldn't. It just fucking hurt immensely. And yeah, so trying to work a full-time job with all of that shit wasn't easy. And it's no wonder I lost that fucking job. I really shit the bed on that one. What are you gonna do? So yeah, now it's just like trying to figure out how do you treat this? How do you treat this? If this is trauma that I'm holding on to, like, I've been in fucking therapy for years, and I mean, it helped in the like interim, is that what I'm meaning to say? It helped at the time, but I'm still fucking sick all the time, and I don't know what to do. And it's like being hit by a car twice. And it's the same car both times. And it might hit you again. I mean, like, going through all that shit it sucked. It was terrible. And to know that, like, that's why I'm sick, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. And I'm angry. I'm so fucking angry. Because none of that was my fault. I didn't ask for any of it. None of it. And I guess I can't seem to let go. But I don't really know how to begin doing that. I'm trying. I'm back on the paleo diet, kind of. And that's helping, I guess. But it's like I'm really sensitive to anniversaries, and like this year, like fucking David Bowie died on the same day that my stepdad died, and that was really hard. I mean, I love David Bowie. I wasn't like a super fan or anything, but just like to see everyone posting shit about him on the internet for like 3 straight days, I was like, fuck, dude, this, oh god, this is a lot. And I would just go on these like fucking crying jags, and I couldn't stop. And so it's, yeah, Valentine's Day, like, fuck you, man, really, Really? You're gonna do that shit? You're gonna violate me in the worst fucking way that a person can violate another person on the, like, International Day of Love? You're a fucking piece of shit, bro. Fuck you. You've ruined that day forever. I didn't like it to begin with, but now, like, it's dead to me. Completely. And it just doesn't fucking help that, like, it's the second most commercially fucking assaultive holiday. Like, they start fucking putting up cards and shit right after Christmas. Hey, it's all about love. Tell the one you blah blah blah. Every kiss begins with K. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're basically celebrating the day that I was raped by my boyfriend. Fuck you. So yeah, I have a lot of fucking complex emotions, and, like, everything is so tangled together, and it sucks. It sucks. But I'm doing my best. I'm struggling to keep my fucking head above water. I go to work every day. I wash myself. I eat every day. I drink water. I'm sleeping. You know, I'm not, like, fucking drinking or doing any kind of drugs to numb. Well, that's not entirely true. I have a little help for the mass amounts of anxiety. Apparently I have a lot of anxiety, and I didn't really realize that until I was in therapy again. So that's interesting. Coming to grips with that. Yeah. So this was a lot. This was a lot of video. Let me watch it and see how I feel about it. I will probably fucking post it because, I don't know, maybe someone else can benefit from this shit. Maybe. That's my hope. Let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye.